Welcome to Science and the Mystical. I'm so happy to be here again. We've kind of taken a pause over the summer. And I have a really wonderful guest to introduce you to today. So, if you've ever considered unique modalities to support your journey and what you're up to, you're going to be super intrigued by what Niki Hughes has to offer. She is the founder of Elemental Balance on Vancouver Island, where she practices many areas of expertise. Not only is she very highly trained, she's very experienced and very passionate. So I hope that you will stand by and consider her services by the time we get through this, and you will be in very, very capable hands. Niki, welcome, and what a gift it is to have you here today.
Thank you so much, Maureen. What a lovely introduction. Thank you
You're
very much.
very welcome. I really want to, right up front and center, announce the new book that you have, the new
Thank
publication
you. Yes.
called Radical Self-Love: Live a Vibrant Life Beyond Fear and Limitation.
Yeah, just hold it up because it's very vibrant cover. So
isn't it? It's beautiful. It's beautiful.
Kind of eye-catching. Thank you so much. I appreciate that.
You're welcome. Maybe you can start with that and tell us how that book came to be.
Sure, absolutely. So I wrote the book because the work that I do with people is really about opening themselves up to themselves and their own heart and getting them to a place of love. I like to think of myself as somebody who brings more life to people, life being love in full expression. And what's more full in your expression than loving yourself? And I noticed that there's a lot of people and a lot of clients that were coming to me that were completely out of alignment with themselves and were very disconnected from who they really are and didn't feel very loving towards themselves, right? And that's something that we're not taught. And yet, to know yourself is the beginning of all wisdom, right? To know yourself is to love yourself. So I thought, because of all the work that I've done, and it just seems to really move me to this area, I thought I'm going to write a book, because not everybody can come in and have a session, or maybe people would like to just read and have the tool set with them. So the book is sort of the process of how to get to that place of really connecting and loving yourself, and then moving into sort of the spiritual connection to that, so that it stays around and you feel completely centered and grounded. So that's why I wrote the book.
Wow.
Yeah.
That sounds like a bestseller to me.
Oh, thank you. Yeah.
Oh,
I'm getting good reviews, which is great. People who have read it and have commented really love it. And that's great. It's full of stories, which is the best way to learn and understand something, right?
So true. So you're stoking our personal love affair with self.
Yes, absolutely. That's the most important relationship that you can have. And I see a lot of people who just everything else comes first. And this is about sort of putting yourself first, putting yourself into the equation so that you can elevate your life, right? And we can talk a little bit about that later, maybe about frequency and how that happens. It's very interesting how it all lines up. So, yeah.
When people start to love themselves, a lot of stuff falls away. A lot of their stories fall away.
Yes, it does. Yeah. The challenge with self-love, though, is people want to love themselves and they think, okay, I would really like to feel better about myself. I don't know how is one thing. I don't know how. And there's something in front of me stopping me, and I don't know how to get through that. So we put up different blocks and limitations into our energy field, into our hearts, into our minds, into our programming, that actually keeps you separate from that wonderful space in your heart that connects you to everything, and actually helps your frequency rise when you get there, so that you live a better life. Better things are coming into you. So the work that I do, and what's sort of outlined in the book, is how to let go of the things that are blocking you right in the way, so that you can get back there and start moving again. So I hear a lot about people who are stuck, right? Who feel really stuck.
Yes.
And so it doesn't matter if you're stuck with money, or you're stuck with love, or you're stuck with weight, or whatever it is. Stuck is stuck, right? There's something blocking you from your own heart, from your own feelings of goodness. So that's what we work on, and that's what the book covers, the how to, right?
So you're opening up awareness, which is actually
Absolutely.
exercising the ability to liberate self from self.
Yes, absolutely. There's a whole chapter on awareness. There's a whole
Love it.
chapter on mindset and awareness, because
Oh
that's
my
the number
goodness.
one thing. Awareness is the precursor to any change. If you're not aware of it, you're not going to change it, right? So you have to become aware so that you can then figure out, how do I step over it, step around it, change it, so that I can have a better level of awareness and really move myself somewhere better.
Very, very good. So, how do people access this book?
Okay, it's out on Amazon. So you can just go out to
Nice.
Amazon and search for Radical Self-Love, or search for my name, Niki Hughes. It's available in paperback, it's available in Kindle, and then in September, I'm going to be putting up the Audible book. I'm just in the process of
Ooh,
building that. Everybody seems to love Audible, and
yes.
I think that's just almost a symptom of a busy life. And I know I can listen to podcasts and stuff when I'm gardening or whatever. So it's a great way to do it. So that should be going up in mid to end of September, just depends. I'm trying to do this around Mercury retrograde.
Well, we
So it's
already
not done yet.
experienced.
It's
Yeah.
yeah, it's starting soon. It's not quite started yet, but I'm not going to publish an audio thing until it's over. So it might happen at the last week of September. We'll see.
Well, we experienced Mercury retrograde today.
Yes, we did.
And
Yes,
trying
we
to
did.
get this
Yeah,
going
it's
today.
starting for me. Yeah, it's
Yeah,
starting.
exactly. Well, I have it in
Hmm.
my in the lineup of purchases from
Oh,
Amazon.
thank
So
you. Oh, great. Thank
yeah,
you,
so
Maureen.
I can hardly
And the
wait to
only thing
read
that
it.
I would dearly ask is that if people are going to buy the book, if you could just come back and leave a review, because the reviews are part of the process on Amazon, the little thing that they do. If you have the more reviews you get, the more they send the book out. So the purpose for me is to get the message out. And so that just means more people can find it, and then they can elevate their lives. So you're actually helping them by putting a review up. So thank you for that.
You're welcome, because I will absolutely do that.
Thank you.
And thanks for the book. I mean, it's going to help so many people.
Yeah, yeah, that's my biggest wish.
Hmm.
Hmm.
So tell us how all of this started for you, because your background is in the corporate world.
It is in the corporate world. I had
Yes.
a very strong left brain, did a
Mhm.
lot of strategy and in the IT space, strategy and strategic planning. So that's very left brain. But I always had this right brain desire to go out and do the creative stuff and do the healing stuff. And so my journey really started with my mom. I was young and probably in my teens, and I got really interested in reincarnation. And so that's my soul planting some seeds for me,
Uh,
right? Because of the past life work that I do. And so, chatting with my mom about it and stuff, she would take me to psychics. Every now and again, she'd say, let's just go have a peek around the corner. And we,
oh,
isn't that great? Isn't that a
I
great way to think
love
about
it.
it? Let's just go have a
Yes.
peek around the corner. So I always live by that. And so my mom took me to a few psychics and palm readers and stuff. And it just really opened up that sort of knowing that there's more, that sort of the metaphysical aspects of my life. And then I got married and got into my busy life. That's what happens. So you kind of
Very
shut that
busy.
off because you need
Mhm.
the left brain. You're working and you're raising children and you're, building a life for yourself. And so I didn't do a lot in that space for a lot of years. And then I guess it was probably in my late 30s, 40s, it came back very strong that I needed to keep exploring. I need to explore this stuff. So I started to do that. And I energy kept coming up. Energy kept coming up in conversations and feelings, and I kept noticing the word coming up in my conversations. And I thought, I got to investigate this energy thing. So the universe is very kind and put someone in front of me that was a Reiki master, a very dear friend of mine named Tammy. And we just got talking one day. We worked together, and she divulged that she was a Reiki master. And we talked about energy. And then before I knew it, she was doing an attunement for me. And so then I was a level 1. And then she also encouraged me to become a Reiki master. And so I went and did that And she did the course again just for fun. So I became a Reiki master. And then I went into acupressure sort of almost right away. And that sort of came up from a psychic reading where they said, you know, acupressure is a really good thing for you. So I looked into it and thought, yeah, I'm going to do this. So I was working, so I squirreled away all of my vacation, and I uh, um, took my vacation and did the course. It was about a year long, got certified. And so I started off in the energy field. I started off doing energy work, energy balancing. I then did sound healing on top of that with the acupressure. So using tuning forks on the body, so singing bowls, the whole bit. So sound is a really important healer too. So I did the training for that. And then I thought, you know, this thing that came up in me when I was young about reincarnation came back. And it was this niggling thing that kept bugging me. And so it would come up. I thought, okay, this is my soul telling me you need to pay attention to this. So I ended up going down to Seattle to work with a psychologist who was a very good past life regressionist and teacher. And I got my past life regression certification. And in doing so, I learned hypnosis, because you need hypnosis to go into the past. You have to be in that wonderful state of deep relaxation and trance to be able to open up and go into past lifetimes to do healing and clearing. So I did that for some time, and it was incredibly rewarding. I love doing past life work. Still do. And then I thought, you know what? I need to know how to deal with stuff when people are in trance in the current life, because I wasn't sure how it transported. So I went back down to Seattle, and through Bastyr University did my hypnotherapy training with the same psychologist. So just transformational hypnotherapy. So I did that and came back and just put it all together. And so I did a lot of work on in the past life space. I hosted a radio show for 2.5 years called Past Life Explorers. If folks are interested, they can go on my website. I've got a radio menu with all of the archives there.
Yes.
And what I would do is I would tape the person who was going to come on the show. I would record their session, take clips of it, and then bring them on the show, and we would talk through their experience and to understand how the healing happened and how it changed their life. So, and what the experience was like for them. So I consider it to be kind of like a front row seat into a past life regression experience. And there's some other ones out there that are experiential, where I took the audience on some journeys too. So that's out there for folks too, if they want to just dip their toe in and see what it feels like. You can try it, right? Yeah.
Well, I experienced one of your sessions.
Yes, you did. It was wonderful.
It was so wonderful. And now I want to come back like right now and do it again.
Well, thank you. You're welcome anytime, Maureen. You're welcome anytime.
Oh, thank you. Well, I remember coming in and saying that I've been told I can't be hypnotized. And that's what I've been told many times. And your answer to me was, well, I just didn't have the right therapist.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah. Exactly.
Any other reasons for why it may not work?
Well, what I find is that people who say that they can't be hypnotized, because I do a discovery call with people and I hear that a lot. Well, what if I can't be hypnotized? Or I've been told I can't be hypnotized. It's like, well, what do you want to believe? Do you want to believe that you can or you can't? I mean, is this a point in your life where you really want to do some change work? If you really want to do some change work, then the resistance is lower. And I have tools and techniques that can get you there, right? And I had a client yesterday, same thing. She came in and said, I went to a hypnotherapist a couple of years ago, maybe 5 years ago, couldn't hypnotize me. I'm like, okay, well, I don't take that in, because this is a different experience. So yeah, so within 20 minutes, bam, she's down, and she had the most amazing past life experience. She was blown away when she came back.
Yeah.
I said, see, you are a good hypnotic subject.
Oh,
most people are, actually, because you go into
Yes.
hypnosis very naturally twice a day. Everybody goes into hypnosis twice a day.
What
When
times?
when you fall asleep.
Yes.
When you fall asleep, you're going down in through those alpha and theta brainwaves. That's hypnosis. And then down into delta. And then when you come up, you're going the reverse. You're coming up through it to come back to conscious awareness. So we know that every single person on this planet that is sleeping, and if you aren't sleeping, then you're probably not going to be doing well, Every single person that sleeps is able to go into hypnosis. So it's available to everybody, right?
This makes having a very pristine sleep regime more important, would you
It
say?
sure is,
Yeah.
yes. You need good, I call it good sleep hygiene. You
Yes.
need good sleep hygiene, right?
What are your recommendations there for people who
For
don't know that lingo?
sleep hygiene,
Yeah.
it's about sort of the routines and the rituals that you put in place that signal to the unconscious mind, it's time to go to bed. It's time to sleep, right? So you're signaling to your body and your unconscious mind. So for me, I have a cup of tea every evening. That's part of my evening let go ritual. You
Mhm.
brush your teeth, you wash your face, maybe you put on some soft music, you open your window, whatever those things are, you ritualize them. And the other part of the sleep hygiene, of course, is the things that you avoid doing that's going to impact your sleep. Like you don't have a cup of coffee at 8 o'clock if caffeine's a problem for you. You don't eat chocolate if caffeine's a
Mhm.
problem for you.
Yeah.
Let go of the sugar, stay off the
Yes.
screens. So it's figuring out all the things that need to be in place for you so that you can have a good night's sleep. But the more you ritualize it, the better it is for the unconscious mind and the body to go, okay, here we go. We're going down now. It's time.
I always call the sleep or the dream world, it's my workspace.
Yes.
So much happens in there,
Mm-hmm.
and it's upon waking that you remember, the bits, the vibrant pieces, and then it just slips away. It's crazy, right?
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
That whole amnesia thing. And that is the unconscious mind's way of working out the energy that you've built up in the day.
Hmm.
Right? Is that it's that release. So just from a physical perspective, the brain is releasing energy and letting go of all of the emotion while you're sleeping through your dream world. And of course, there's a lot more to that than what I'm saying.
Yes.
Um, yeah. So the challenge with people who don't sleep well or who may be depressed is that they don't sleep well. So if you don't sleep well and you
Mm-hmm.
don't give the brain a chance to let go of the emotion, you wake up and you're still sort of in a negative place, and it's just a cycle that perpetuates itself, right?
So
So
if
you
you wake
stay.
up grumpy, you should have a look at your sleep hygiene.
You should look at your sleep hygiene and also too, if you're under a lot of stress, if you have a lot of stress and maybe a lot of negative self-talk, right? If
Hmm.
you've got a lot of negative self-talk running all day, your body and your brain need a chance to release that negative self-talk out of your body. And if you're not sleeping well, you're not releasing it. And so then
Hmm.
you've still got this big negative energy when you wake up. And that's part of depression, right? Is that you
Truly,
just you
truly.
can't let it go and you just stay in it. So sleep is really, really important for us for a lot
Mhm.
of reasons.
All the reasons,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. And the workspace that you have too, right? And we all have. That's where we work
Yeah.
stuff out.
And so fun. Like I have a lot of fun in the dream space. It's
Yeah.
quite joyful, very informative, and on the rare occasion will be maybe disturbing or jarring in a way.
Yeah. Yeah.
But it's a fun space for me. I really look forward to
Yeah.
going to bed.
Yeah. So
Yeah,
do I.
yeah,
So do I.
yeah.
I'm lucky. I'm a lucky when I sleep well, so it's good for me.
Yes. Yeah,
So
it's
I like it.
so good.
Yeah.
From my experience with you, I
Mm-hmm.
remember being a man in another country and
Mm-hmm.
having powers that were just so incredible. And that that vision of that, the memory of that has come to my mind space and heart space many times since I've seen you, because it's
Mm-hmm.
been a while.
It's been a
And
couple of years, yes, at
yeah,
least. Yeah.
so I think of you and I'm just
Oh,
so
thank
great.
you.
Yeah, I'm so grateful. That little buzzing in your ears, I'm thinking of you. Um, it was really powerful, and you have such a gift in talking me down. Like, for example, because I know
Right.
my mind can get in the way.
Right.
So taking us to the space where that possibility of potential exists is
Mm-hmm.
something you're really gifted in.
Well, thank you. Thank you. And for me, I love being in there with the client, exploring the story and sort of helping the unconscious mind navigate to where we need to go so that you meet your
Mhm.
goals. and to see what comes. And then, you know, the way my brain works, it's the integration of how does all of that relate to the problem that you're going through? How does releasing that help you in the current life? Right. And so that's a real kind of nice mind puzzle for me. I like puzzles.
Well, and that's the beauty of the right left brain connection and the
Yes,
strength of both that you have.
totally.
Yeah, so the
Yeah.
corporate world serves you well here.
Yes, it sure does. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Lots of gifts from that world. Lots of
Oh,
gifts.
yes. So
Hmm.
you're doing transformational therapy. Is that true?
Yes, yes,
Yes.
I am. And one of the main things that I'm doing now that people are finding me is trauma release, because we are
Mm,
all traumatized, right? And some are
mm,
worse than others, of course, based on what you've been exposed to and what you've gone through. And so what happens with the trauma is, if it's unresolved, it sits in the right hemisphere of the brain and it
okay.
just stays active in that right hemisphere. And energetically with trauma, you're kind of held tight. So not much else can flow in. So you're in this feeling, you're in this space of tightness and you're
Hmm.
not moving, right? So trauma can really hold you. And so I have a very fast process that I do, and I can release a lot of trauma in one session with a light pen. It's a lot like EMDR,
Oh,
but
interesting.
it's a different, um, it's sort of the next evolution of EMDR, using a light pen, and it's designed in a way that it's designed in a way to line up with the way the brain processes. And so
Hmm.
you can release a lot of trauma in one session versus, you know, EMDR, sometimes if it's really big trauma, it can take 5 or 10 sessions to release one, right? So this is a lot faster.
Yes.
So, and a huge results. Like I just worked with a group of First Nations folks who were
Mm.
suffering the trauma of the residential schools, right? So I spent a weekend in their site working with each of them, and it was so rewarding. And just the stuff that they let go of, they said they've never felt like this before, right? Because their whole lives were
Amazing.
so tight. So I do a lot of that. And a lot of times with clients, what I find is the unconscious mind, if there's a lot of trauma running in somebody, if it's a lot of unresolved stuff, the unconscious mind, which I just got to point out is the subconscious mind. It's a little bit bigger than the subconscious mind, but that's just my training. So I refer to it as the unconscious mind.
Hmm.
Um, it won't allow you, or may not allow you, to step out of your current life into a past life if you've got a lot of trauma running. So what I've
Hmm.
found is, for folks who know they've been through a lot and that they haven't really dealt with it, we'll do a trauma session first, because it's
Hmm.
usually fast. We can clear out what needs to be cleared. But it's not up to me to get you where you're going. It's up to your unconscious mind. So, and if
Hmm.
it's always has your best interests at heart and wants the very best for you. And if there's stuff that's running, you're going to have to clear that out before it'll allow you to step even further back, right?
Do you hit a block when you're, kind of opening up that unconscious space?
To
Is
do a past
sometimes,
life work?
yeah.
Yep. Yeah, it's very clear to me because I've done this work for so long now. It's very clear to me where we're going. I can see the
Okay.
signals, I can intuitively know. And so, like, an example is my client yesterday didn't didn't feel like she had any trauma, any big stuff coming up. So we did the past life session. We went to her sort of landing space, and it's usually somewhere really lovely, like a safe space. She landed into a childhood event. I took her into a childhood event from that safe space. And it was one that immediately I could tell there's a block here. There's a
Mm.
block because there's nothing really happening in the event. And so I just went right into the way I work with blocks, and sure enough, there it is. And we released all of the emotions, the fears that are in that block. And then we stepped into the past life, and she had an amazing session. So it
Wow.
happens, right? It
Sure.
happens.
What's great about you too is that you have such an objective standpoint. Like
Oh,
you're so clear. You're not dipping into the emotions or getting pulled in directions because of
yeah,
what the
no,
person
no.
brings. You're just so solid.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, you
Yes,
really
it's
are.
something you have to work at. It's something you have to work at.
True.
Like when you're,
Yes.
especially with the trauma work. right? When you're dealing with
Mm.
somebody who's experienced a family member being murdered, or they've experienced being raped, or any of those horrible things that happen to people, you have to be able to have that boundary and take that step away. And then I'd have a whole bunch of things I do when I'm done to clear my own self, right? So it's
Mhm.
taking care of yourself. It's really important when you're doing healing work.
How does your higher self show up when you are in the healing mode as healer?
Well, I'm connected to my higher self all the time, and I
Mhm.
actually invite her into my body all the time. So I feel I'm very aligned and connected all the time. But when I'm in the session, it's just this intuition. It's just it's not a voice; it's a feeling. I'm a very clear cognizant person and a clear sentient person, and so it's a feeling that I just need, and I can feel myself just being guided. It's like, okay, and
Mhm.
there we go, right?
Super fluid.
Very fluid. Yeah, all of my
Yes.
sessions are very fluid. There's no cookie cutter, one size fits all, because you're dealing with individuals and they're all different,
And
right?
because you embody it in your everyday life, and I've
Hmm.
known you outside of the session as well, and that's
Yeah,
just who you are. So you
yeah,
have integrated it so well, and it's
yeah,
it's it's present. It's present in all that you do.
yeah. And that
Yes.
is that is something, Maureen, that I write about in the book, because that's kind of what's different about my book, is that I give you the process and the energetics behind having to clear stuff out, but it's also, okay, great, I cleared it out. Now what? How do I get that connection so that I can
Mm.
feel my heart and I can feel that really solid feeling in me that, yeah, I'm good. This is me. And so I've got the instructions in there on how to create that relationship with your higher self and how to be spiritually connected and move that into your life. So it's a little bit of a different book in that way, that it's not just um, do these 4 steps and you're done. It's how to build a relationship with that higher part of you, which is the most important relationship you'll ever have, right?
Hmm.
Often I find people say to me, "Oh, I feel like something's missing." And I know for me, in a lot of part of my life, I felt like something was missing. That hole, you talk about the hole in your life, and people seek. You're seeking a partner, you're seeking a substance, you're seeking something to fill that so you can feel whole again. When in reality, to feel whole is to be totally connected to that larger part of you. That's what fills you up, not anything outside of you. It's what comes from inside of you. So that's what's in the book, which is great. Yeah, and
Love
that's what
it.
I embody. I live it. So
You
I live it, and
do.
I love my life. I have a great life. I'm very blessed.
You are so blessed. So it's
Mhm.
we actually live in separation from self, from true
Yes, we
self.
do.
And
Yeah,
so you're giving tools to bring all of that into one space.
that's
Correct?
right.
Is that right? Yeah.
That's right. So the whole
Yeah.
purpose, like we do live in separation, but the whole point of us being here is to learn and grow and evolve and to expand our soul's energy back into that oneness again, right? So it's a journey of getting back to that connection. And
Hmm.
so when you can be in that connection, your whole life changes. Everything changes. And that's because
Yes.
of the frequency, right?
How does separation ever serve us? Like, does it ever serve anybody, or is that the misunderstanding of who we are as a whole?
Well, I think it serves us as a teacher,
Mm.
right? It serves us as a teacher to teach us about what it feels like to be disconnected. It serves us as a way of working through the things that happen to us that cause that separation, the fear, the trauma, the limitations that we place on ourselves. So all of those things are sort of meant to be there so that you can find your way back.
On
That's how I
some
look at it.
on some level, I think many
Mhm.
people have agreed to live in the house of suffering
Yes,
because that's what they know.
that's what they know, and
Settle
that's
for things, avoid things, etc.
yeah, and that comes back again to awareness,
Hmm.
right? So when you have the awareness that, hey, I'm living in suffering, and getting out of that sort of victim mode, that all of these things are happening to me, I have no control, I have no power. You're actually stepped right off your power in those moments, right?
Hmm.
You're handing your power off to some external force rather than standing on your power and saying, okay, if this is happening to me. It's actually happening for me. What am I meant to learn from this? And that's a lot of the work that I do in my hypnotherapy, is figuring out what's the message from the body when you've got something going on in your body. I work with a lot of cancer people, a lot of people with chronic illness, and it's like, so what is the message that your body is trying to tell you? Even folks who hold on to weight and have a hard time letting go of weight, a lot of times that's just protection. The body wants to protect you from whatever it is that's happened to you. And in one case that I had, the client had such a busy life that the weight was being put on to hold her still, so that she
Oh,
would slow
interesting.
down.
Oh,
You can't
interesting.
move very fast when you're holding extra weight. So when
Yes.
you can go in at that really deep internal level and connect with the body and pick up the messages, pick up what it's trying to tell you, then you can change things and shift things and alter your life so that that part of you is satisfied, and then you can just let go of that behavior, that limitation that's been placed on you, right? There's
So
always a
interesting.
message in there.
There's
Yeah, there's
always a
always,
message.
yeah, and it's always
Yeah.
positive. People might think, oh, there's nothing good about this illness or this disease, but there is a positive intention underneath that on why it's happening. And so when
Mhm.
you can find that, it makes the journey a little bit easier, and it allows you to have that awareness and do your shifting, right?
Even in doing the blood work that I do with people,
Yes.
you people sometimes will come and they're just kind of kicking the tires of some new thing. And so they
Yeah.
show up, which is great because they're curious and they, oh no, I feel fine. And it's like, okay, well, looking at your blood, what it's showing me is that fine is here, or here, I guess you're
Yes.
just barely
Right.
making it. But
Yeah.
what if there was a higher level of health that was
Yes.
accessible to you that you haven't even met yet? So
Right.
it is also a form of empowerment. So
It is.
we do things in different ways, provide different information in different ways. And I love how, as practitioners and just as light workers on the planet, we bring people into themselves, into their own
Yes.
power, so that they can expand and evolve as spirit beings within this
Yes.
the human experience. So
Yeah.
yeah,
We're here to help people wake up.
wake up.
And it's to wake up to wake up to your awareness, wake up to where you're
Yes.
sitting, wake up to the fact that you have the power to have more. You have
Right.
the power to have more, right? So that's what I mean when I say I bring people back to life, back to their lives, right? But I say,
Yes.
bringing them back to life, but life being, the acronym love in full expression. That's life, right? And so it's
Yes.
about getting back to being a loving being, which is what we're supposed to be. And that's, when you're doing things to yourself that aren't loving, a lot of
Hmm.
us aren't even aware of it because we've been doing it for so long,
Yes.
and we don't realize that, whatever it is isn't healthy. And so your body has to ramp up. I'm a firm believer that your unconscious mind uses your body to communicate with you. It's the biggest tool that it has to communicate,
A
right?
hundred percent.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So use the body and tap into that to figure that out. And a lot of people are very disconnected from their bodies. And that's just the way we are culturally. And so it's getting back to that. And that's part of the great work that you do with the blood work, giving them the opportunity to reconnect and
Hmm.
look at their body differently and look at the signals that are coming up through their blood.
It's a whole different language.
It's
And
yeah,
and
exactly.
I'm simply the interpreter as you are.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Exactly.
and the
Yeah.
guide.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I
Yeah.
wanted to talk a little bit about reincarnation because I know that's such a
Sure.
love of yours. Yeah, you
Yeah,
light
it
up,
is.
right?
Yeah.
Can you explain what that is and what that means and what your experience has been there?
Sure, I can. I'll try to do it at a simple level, so I'm not going too deep into too much. So
Mhm.
reincarnation, so energy never dies, right? We know that through science. Energy never dies. You can't kill it, right? So when we leave a body, when we stop animating a body, our energy has to go somewhere, right? And so that is your soul energy that leaves the body. And when you leave a body, you go out into the spirit world, I do spiritual regressions as well, where I take folks into that spirit world after leaving a body to understand who they are as a soul, who their soul families are, what's their purpose, why did they choose the body they chose? Because there's all these things that you can
Yeah.
come up with when you're playing around in there and getting really good information, and to talk to their councils that are helping them, because we have councils of help. And so we come into a body with a purpose, a something that we want to achieve. And it may be something simple, like I want to experience the love of a child, or it may be something really complex. I want to experience what it's like to expand wealth and lose wealth, and expand wealth and lose wealth. I want to play with that, right? So we all have our own unique purposes on why we come in. And sometimes we actually don't satisfy that purpose in one life. We might take 3 or 4 to come in and do that purpose. So your soul, we chose to split off out of oneness to come to this really big school of learning, right?
Indeed.
Where there is the duality, where there is fear, because when you're out in oneness, you are love. Love is everything. Love conquers all, right? So we come down here to experience the different emotions, to experience the fears, to experience the blocks. And once we get into that through a lifetime, we animate a body, we choose our body, we animate the body, and then we have our life. Your higher self is the part of you that didn't come in the body. It's sort of out there loosely guiding you, and you have all these guides helping on your journey. And you're there to just move through and experience life with the eye to, satisfying some of your purpose, so that your soul can evolve and expand, right? And so when you die, you leave, you have this review of, did I do what I needed to do? And then there's a decision on whether or not you want to come back and do it again. And what I've been told, because a lot of us in a body is going, why the hell would I ever want to do this again? Right? No, I don't believe this. Because honestly, when you get out of the body and you're back in oneness and you see the game that you're playing, it's like, yeah, let's go. I want to do it again. This the amnesia. That's the hard part.
Yes.
Right? Yeah. Yeah. So you will decide with your higher self and your spirit team what the next iteration will be, how you might evolve, or how you might experience or grow to that purpose in a different way. How you might let go of some of the karma. So I'm going to talk a little bit about that, because that can get complicated. So karma is just the balance of energy. So when you come in and you have this fear and you have this limitation in your energy field in your body, it's heavier energy, right? It's heavy energy. When you die, that heavy energy goes with you, right? You don't get to say, it's just this going, I'm going to leave that behind. Everything goes with you. This is why I tell people, clean up your life.
No
now.
kidding. Yes.
Do as much as you can to clean it up so that you're not coming back to do it again, because you're taking it with you and you got to come back to clean it out. So there's certain things when you choose a lifetime that you're going to work on to let go of that fear of eating, for eating disordered people, right? So fear of weight or whatever that is, that came from a different lifetime, but you need to work through it, right? So you're bringing it back. Yeah. Let's go.
Can I just ask a question?
Yes,
So,
absolutely.
No, I love it. So it seems that there is a purpose in spiritual amnesia.
Yes, there is.
Because some of those traumas are horrific for some people.
Yeah.
And maybe for all of us on some level.
Yeah. And if you knew the breadth of who you are, you probably wouldn't make it very long in a body. Your brain would explode. You can't hold all of that stuff in a body, right?
Yes.
And the other thing is, you want to be going through your experiences clean. You want to be going through the experiences and really letting go of that karmic energy, right? That fear, whatever it is you brought in to clean up. You want to be going through it cleanly. If you already knew the answers, then what's the point of the game?
True.
Right?
So
it's just not going to help you.
No.
It would make it easy, right? It's like we're all going to come back here and win the lottery. So, okay, so what's the point of everybody winning the lottery? You haven't learned how to work for your money. You haven't learned how to build a relationship with money. You haven't learned how to struggle and survive. Like, there's a lot of reasons why we don't all come back and win the lottery, right?
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
So there is ancestral bondage and there's ancestral
Yes,
karma. And I
absolutely.
talk about that a lot when I see it in the
Yes.
blood. It's so interesting.
Oh, that would be fascinating. I'm gonna have to get a blood
Yes.
work done too. I'm gonna have to get a
Yeah,
blood
we'll do
reading
it.
done,
We'll
see what
do
I've
it.
cleared out. Yeah.
For people that are really open and ready, it's mostly when you're ready, the teacher will come. But
Yes, absolutely.
in a breast cancer patient, in the dry blood, there were three ancestors, just one behind the other. It
Wow.
was
Yeah.
like so evident. And I asked her what she saw, and she goes, "Oh my God." It's like, oh my God, it's my mother, my grandmother, and my great grandmother. So she
Mm-hmm.
was ready to interpret. And certainly that's what I saw. But I really wanted to see what came for her first.
Yeah.
And she had breast cancer, and we know that's a nurturing conflict in German
Yes.
medicine. So there was so much value there for her. So
What a gift.
yeah,
What a
it
gift. And then she
yes.
can look at the negative patterns that have been created in her life along that ancestral line and start working on
Hmm.
stepping over the patterns,
Oh my gosh,
right? So that's a big
totally.
thing, is so stepping over the patterns. I had a client who has had an interesting relationship with money. She has a lot of money,
Hmm.
but always wants more because of how she grew up. And then she cleared out the stuff with the family because there was family dynamics around money. But then she was having all these conflicts with people in her life and saying, I don't know where this conflict's coming from. She
Hmm.
was creating it herself because of the pattern of the issue with money. She hadn't quite cleared it all out. And sometimes
Hmm.
when you step over a negative pattern through awareness and changing behavior, um, it's like energy works in a circle, right? And
Hmm.
so you go around, you get rid of it, and then there's a little tiny squeaky bit left. So it might just pop
Yeah.
up, and you're presented with a way to really check and see if you're done with that pattern. And she wasn't. So when she
Ah.
got the awareness that, oh, this is exactly like me dealing with the males in my life.
Mm.
So she got it. She totally got it. It's like, okay, now I can just step over that and heal that one, right? So these patterns come up. So it's great that the ancestral patterns, that your client was able to see that, and now she can do something with it, right?
Then the deep work begins.
Exactly. Then the
That's
deep
when you
work
come to
begins.
see somebody like you to help
Yeah,
facilitate that movement
yeah.
through.
And you. It's
Ah,
great. It's great,
oh,
Maureen. It's great.
it,
Yeah. So I just would like to close off the karma for a minute, because karma,
yes.
there's a lot of misunderstanding, in my opinion, about karma. If you keep it simple and just say karma is balance, it's not, okay, if I hurt you, then I'm coming back in the next life and you're going to hurt me. That's not karma. That
Mm-hmm.
is a balance of sorts, but it may be, okay, I hit someone with a car in my life. And so now my next life, it won't be that person. It's going to be some other soul that signed up to help me out to balance it, because we have agreements in place to help. But it might be that you have to experience the suffering that the family had of what happened with that car accident. If you killed someone in a car accident, you have to go and experience it in a different way, from a different perspective, but that will balance out the energy. So it's about balancing energy, right? That's all it is. So we come here, we have karmic relationships with people
Mm-hmm.
where one person's hurt one person has hurt the other, but it may not be the person that you actually did it with in another lifetime, but they've agreed to come in and help you release that karmic balance. So that's part of the patterns too, is the karma, letting go of the karma around that.
So there are all these relationships that come
Yes.
to us intentionally.
Yes,
That's a co-creation.
absolutely. Absolutely.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yes, and you're meant to do something with it. And you'll either just keep going in it and repeating the same patterns, that circle of repeating the same pattern, until you notice and go, ooh, I'm stepping off that wheel. That's why they call it a karma wheel. I'm stepping off.
Ah,
That's my opinion.
I
So
love
I'm
it.
stepping off that wheel, and I'm going to do something different. And all it takes is changing your behavior, changing your
Mm-hmm.
reaction to something, instead of just being unaware, again, there's that awareness piece, unaware, and just letting it run, and then creating it with other people and other people and other people, right? So you just got to get yourself to the point of awareness with it.
The whole
That's how
karma
we
thing
deal with
is
karma.
interesting. It's
It is.
interesting, and I love your simple explanation, because it will be like someone gets rear-ended and it's like, oh, that's karma, or you stub your toe, oh, karma. And so it's so misused. So
I know.
it begins to morph into karma as being punishment.
It's
But
not punishment.
no, it's
It's
misunderstood.
balance. Yeah.
Yeah.
And oftentimes those things that happen where you get rear-ended, that's not about karma. It's about the frequency that you're living in. You're living in a lower frequency. So you've got a lot of negative things or low frequency things coming into your life. So to move beyond that, because we all know the people who've had like multiple car accidents, it's like that may be a pattern, but it also just may be that you're living in a lower frequency. So how can you elevate yourself to a higher level of living through your frequency? And that's remove the fear blocks, remove the traumas, remove the stuff that's holding you down in that lower level. You know, change the mindset. Change the mindset will elevate you up, right? So that's how you move yourself to vibrant living, in my opinion, is by elevating your the way you live, by letting go of all the things that you don't need to carry anymore, and enlightening yourself. To me, that's enlightenment, is letting go of the heavy, dense energies that we carry and just allowing more light in. That's you being more enlightened, right? And then connecting with the higher self to have a truly connected experience. And then you're being guided even better, even more, even with more fulfillment. You're being guided because you're aware and in this direct relationship with that larger part of you, rather than just kind of bumping along, right?
And that's part of the love affair.
That's part of the love affair.
It
That's
is
right. That's
part of
right.
the love affair. I love.
And we need to get there. We're moving into a world that is heart-centered, that is more from the heart. And so the more of us that can get to that place and remove the things that are blocking us from being heart-centered and living from that beautiful space, the better it's going to be for the whole world, and the more included they're going to be in the next iteration of what's happening in the world, because we're elevating our frequency there too, right? So beautiful. It's good for the world. It's good to feel whole. And people come to me and they just say, I just want to feel whole. Yeah. So this is a way to do it. You do it through yourself, not through other things, right?
Thank you for that.
You're welcome.
Yeah.
Thank you for letting me talk.
Oh my goodness. I could listen to you for such a long time.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, that's very nice of you.
You've taken on something new. Mediumship is in your back pocket now. Can you tell us about your exploration there?
Yeah. It's actually been a couple of years, and I'm not really going out and doing it as a thing for people unless I feel called to it. But yeah, I started it during the pandemic, something to do, right? And started a spiritual development group with 3 other lovely ladies. And we were meeting every Sunday night, and we would just, you know, whoever we felt called to, we would just bring their loved one in and get the evidence that it's them, and then bring forward messages and all those other things. And it's really very beautiful. And it's very healing. It's very healing, because when we lose somebody, we actually have to, the grief is the biggest transformer inside of ourselves. We have to completely rearrange ourselves internally for that loss, and to bring in those wonderful parts of that person that we loved, so that we can embody some of the good things that we loved about them, and to be able to know that they're okay and they're across the veil, and they're still there, they're still with you. And it's very healing, and it's just very healing for people to be able to hear from them, to be able to understand that it is them, and that they're still there, and they're not suffering, and they're happy and with them. It's really gift. It's a real gift. So I appreciate being able to do it.
It's so powerful. And I think the most powerful part for me in being able to access that world is to see, feel, and understand that person better. And it helps bring understanding to dynamics that were experienced with an individual. So there's a
Yeah,
new level of there's a new level or a new perspective from which to view that relationship.
that's right.
Yeah.
And the other thing that I find too is through the evidence that is given from the loved one,
Hmm.
I get to know that person that's passed a little bit deeper too, right? Is that what you mean?
Mm.
The person who's passed?
Yes.
That's what I find. Yes. Okay. Thank you. So I was thinking
Yeah.
about the person you're doing the reading for. Yeah, no, it's to understand and the contribution that they made to the person you're doing the reading for and what they brought to life. What did they bring to life?
Hmm.
What did they
Hmm.
do? Who were they? What did they love? Yeah, there's so many facets of the personality that comes through when you do that kind
Hmm.
of work, right? Like somebody's
Hmm.
humor was huge in one of them, and it was just so uplifting to get to experience that.
Yes. I'll just share a little something that was
Oh, yay.
super powerful for me. I had a very tumultuous experience with my mother figure. And it was misunderstood for so long. And I did so much work in and around understanding that relationship, why it was the way it was. And that's, kind of old therapy. But
Right.
I was sitting on a beach in France, and there was nobody around, and it was a beautiful day, and I looked over to my left, and there's my mom sitting there on the beach with me. And she looked over at me and she said, "That was crazy shit that we did." And it
Yeah.
was it was so funny. Like, I just laughed, and it released so much of the kind of the particulate that was still in
Wow.
my being.
Isn't
And
that wonderful?
it was really wonderful. So all the years of trying to sort it was dissipated in that moment of laughter with her. It was just
Isn't
the
that
most
wonderful?
it was truly
What a
wonderful.
gift. You see, and
Yeah.
she's out there
Yes.
recognizing the game that she was in and is probably like, woohoo, let's go do it again.
No, but
No,
yeah,
no, not with
no,
you, but with
no,
someone else.
no. Well, not that game. That was, I don't like that
No, no,
game
no,
so
no. The
much, but
game of life, the
the
game of
game of
going
life.
into a
Oh, okay.
body, the game of going into a body. That's
Yeah.
sort of closing off the reincarnation thing, right? So we make a choice to come
Yeah, we
back.
make a choice.
And
Yeah.
it may not be with the same people, but it's to
Hmm.
work on stuff. And, who knows, maybe your mom, now that she's recognized it was crazy shit that you did out there, that sees the advantage and the fun aspects of playing the game of being in a body. Who knows, she might want to come back.
There you go. And I think that's part of the trauma release is when you do
Yeah.
meet the other side in a mediumship
Yes.
capacity, that
Yes.
it's huge. It is
Yeah.
another form of finding love where you thought there wasn't any.
That's right. It's very,
Yeah,
very healing. And
it's so
I
healing.
have this wonderful friend who's part of our mediumship group. She's writing a book about her experience with her husband who passed, and
Hmm.
how she's gone from, the loss, the great love that they had, the loss that happened, the devastating loss, and how she's reconnected with him, and she's built a whole new relationship with him, not in a body. He's
Oh,
there, and
yeah.
he communicates with her through all kinds of different things, but it's been very healing for her. So when the book
Mm.
is published, I will let you know. It's sort of a visual novel because she's an artist, so it's going to be
Oh,
lots of pictures and stories that take you through. I'm really excited about her book.
oh, that's exciting. Well,
Yeah.
perhaps she'll agree to come on the podcast at some
Oh,
time.
I bet she would love
Right?
that. She would
Let's
love
do it.
that.
Let's
Yeah,
do it.
okay. Yeah,
This is
when
what
she's
this is for.
excellent. Her name's Annette, and when she's done, I will let you know and we can set something up. She would love to do that.
Beautiful, beautiful.
Awesome.
Nikki, our time has come to an end
Yeah.
here. We could go on and on, as
Wow,
we
it went by
know.
fast.
I
Yeah.
know, right? So
Yeah.
for everybody out there, check out Niki Hughes' book, Radical Self-Love, Live a Vibrant Life Beyond Fear and Limitation. And
Mm.
I look forward to getting my copy. I
Oh,
am,
thank you. Thank you so
it's
much.
It's been such a blessing to have you here and reconnect.
Yeah,
It's like,
it's been
man,
great.
I've missed
I've
our
missed you.
conversation. I miss you too.
I've missed you. Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah, we'll have to get
exactly.
together. I'd love that. I would love
Yes,
that.
we'll make it happen. So
Yeah.
thank you so much.
Thank you.
Any
And thank
last
you.
words?
I just want to thank you for the opportunity to come on and to speak and to let me talk about what I do. I think it's great. And I just want to say that everybody that's listening, you have the power in you to get back onto your power. This is your
Mm,
life. You can live it any way you want. And why not live it from a place of really feeling connected and loving towards yourself? Right? It's what you came here to do.
nice.
It's what you came here to do.
Nice.
Life is supposed to feel good. If it doesn't feel good, then you need to make some adjustments. So that's what I say. Life is supposed to feel good.
Well, that
So
alone will make your phone ring, I tell you.
yeah, yeah, that's
Aw,
right. Yeah.
all
Awesome.
right. Well, thank you again from the bottom of my heart. You're an
Thank
amazing
you, Maureen.
individual. We're so
Thank
blessed
you.
to have you.
Thank you. It was just so lovely to be here. Have a wonderful, wonderful, oh yes, it's Friday. Have a wonderful
Yeah,
weekend.
exactly. I know, right?
All
What day
right.
is it?
I
Okay.
know. That's how it goes. Take care.
Thank
We'll
you.
see you
You
soon.
too. Sounds
Yeah, see
good.
you soon. Okay, bye-bye.